The Niyamas are much more intrapersonal practices. They're more internal practices that have to do with your relationship to yourself. So we're moving to Sutra 40. Socha, purity, the first of the Niyamas. So here is something that's really interesting. By purification arises disgust for one's own body and for contact with other bodies. Now, if your book says the word disgust, you can change the word to detachment. Sri Swami Satchidananda says in his commentary, when socha or purity is observed, it makes you feel that even your own body is impure. Now, when I say impure, I don't mean unworthy. I don't mean dirty. But if you look at it from this context of detachment from your body, you start to look at your body like this machine. And if you actually look at what your physical body does, it is actually quite disgusting. Because we put in food, and the food is what builds cells in our body, and it's the machine to help the vehicle function and the mind function. And then what does the body do? Nothing but excreting waste. We have waste that comes out of our pores, sweat and body odor. Our hair falls out. We have earwax. We have eye crumbs. We have mucus. We have phlegm and saliva. We have urine. We have poo. And women also have menstruation. There is a lot of waste that we secrete. Now, if you look at that, what we always try to cover up, right? We don't look at our bodies as these functional things. We look at our bodies as these kind of cosmetic things. So we style our hair, and I'm not saying we're not looking at this in the context of good or bad. I'm just bringing you aware of how we live our lives so that we can be a little bit more aware of how we choose to live our lives without being unconscious of doing what we do. We wear stylish clothes, we shave or we wax our body hair, shape our eyebrows, put on makeup, put on perfume to mask up all the smells. Again, not good or bad. I do all those things. I'm a normal human being. But when you practice purity, you lose that detachment. Well, this body is 43 years old. So what choices am I going to make for this 43-year-old body? Am I going to try to keep it as a 20-year-old body? Or am I going to understand and accept that this is a 43-year-old body, and I'm going to exercise and keep it strong and healthy and supple and balanced in a way that is suitable for a 43-year-old body? My 20-something-year-old body could eat whatever it wanted to and still be skinny without exercising. My 43-year-old body, not so much. My 20-something-year-old body could go 2 nights, 3 nights in a row on like 3-4 hours of sleep during like final season. My 43-year-old body, not at all. One night, I'm destroyed for the next 2 days. So when you look at this, okay, this is the body. Am I going to be so attached to it? Because at the end of the day, what's going to happen to this body? It's going to deteriorate over time, wear and tear. It's going to maybe get diseased. There's no guarantee. But it's definitely going to die at some point. So how attached do I want to be to this physical body? And I'm going to ask you the same thing. What's the point of having a yoga practice that only focuses on your physical body? When you leave your body, what happens? Where's the yoga there? Let's say disease comes. One of my friends recently got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer suddenly. She's young. She has young kids. What happens then? What happens to your peace of mind then? And by understanding the impermanence of the body and not being so afraid of being detached to the physical body, you can maintain your peace of mind. It brings you more towards self-realization. Your physical body is the home of your inner essence. It's the home of your personality. It's the home of your soul. It's like driving a car around. When the car gets too old or banged up and you can't function in the car anymore, you have to drop that car, leave it, and then go drive a new car. In yoga, in Hinduism and Buddhism, that's what they say. You drop the current vehicle and you merge and you get a new body, you get a new vehicle. Whatever your soul's evolution guides you towards. It's like that. There's something inside of you that doesn't change. Think of it like your clothes. One day, you're wearing yoga clothes. The next day, you wear a suit. If you go skiing, you're going to be wearing ski boots. None of those outfits are appropriate if you go to the beach. All the externals change according to the circumstances, according to the environment, according to the time. But what doesn't change? It's you. If you even look at your physical body, not one cell in your physical body is the same as where it was when you were a baby. And you may have memories of your life as a child, but you were so different back then. Look at yourself if you were in school. You were so different back then. So everything has changed, but nothing has changed. What inside of you remains the same? When you have this realization, there's something inside of me that is the same, but everything else around me is changing. When you have that realization of what is changing around you, it makes so much more sense. And then you can lose that. I'm going to go to the next sutra, which also covers socha and purity, and then we're going to talk about different ways that you can practice purity. So when you practice purity, another gift that you get, Sutra 41 says, moreover, one gains purity of sattva, cheerfulness of mind, one-pointedness, mastery over the senses, and fitness for self-realization. Wow, that sounds so great. And all you have to do is practice purity. So the first step is to practice purity in your physical body. Keep your body as clean as possible. A lot of the times we rely on so many stimulants to keep the body functioning. Coffee to keep us awake. Alcohol to wind us down at the end of the day. Again, I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just saying be aware. We have a headache, we pop a pill. We put all these things in our bodies to kind of create some sense of comfort, to preserve the body, to keep it in a state that makes us feel good. However, take away all those stimulants and literally listen to your body. If you go on detox and you have a severe headache, your body is clearing stuff out. When you deprive your body of food, yeah, sometimes you get a headache. Headache, headache, headache. And then after a while, suddenly, when your body has finally cleared out all those toxins, you feel amazing. No, you don't need food. You're like high on prana. Your digestive system is so quiet. Therefore, you've got more prana to meditate. Your body is more supple. Your body is more flexible. Why? Because you don't have so many toxins inside your body. So you start by cleaning up your body. You take away the junk. Now, what Sri Gurudev says is, don't worry. If you're developing a healthy habit, don't be so caught up in, I have to stop this. I have to stop that. I have to stop this. Oh my God, I'm such a terrible person. I drink wine. I pop pills. I do this. I do that. No. Start with something tangible that is good for you and develop a habit of cultivating that. It's like changing oil in a car. You don't immediately remove the old oil. You have to put the new oil in, and by injecting the new oil in, the old oil comes out. So you have to put something positive in to be able to get rid of that which no longer serves you. So focus on cultivating good habits. Now, this is where practices like asana, yoga postures, yoga class, even a hot, sweaty vinyasa class is so good for you. It is so detoxifying. It is so purifying for your physical body. Exercise is wonderful. Hatha yoga is wonderful. Making your body strong and supple, it is great. This is where Hatha yoga comes in. Keep your body strong and supple and functional. And it's great if it's flexible, but even better if it's flexible and strong, like steel. Not just brittle, like iron that can break, and not so flexible that it's like jelly and there's no substance to it. You find that balance. So when you have that strong, supple, healthy physical body that is quiet and free from all these impurities, then you get purity of sattvas, which is cheerfulness of mind, cheerfulness of heart. You become pure in your heart, childlike. Childlike is not childish, it's not petty, it's childlike. Look at the heart of a child. It is so pure and so free and so innocent. Kids say the cutest, most funniest things, but it is 100% truthful. Kids only learn to lie when they are afraid of being punished. But if you allow a child to express his or herself completely, they have no reason to lie. And they'll say things that obviously in modern society we're like, oh, ha, 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 that's offensive. But kids are so pure in their hearts that they don't know. They just say what they see. Now, as a grown-up, we can cultivate that heart of a child. That is what is called purity of heart. Cultivating that same innocence in our heart. It doesn't mean be a fool. Because in our adult life, we've been burned plenty of times. So it doesn't mean be a fool. But it means be pure in your heart. Keep your intentions pure. Keep them true. Examine your ulterior motives and work through those. Get rid of those if you can. So we want to be pure in thought, pure in words, and pure in our actions. And when we are pure in heart, we become fit for self-realization. So this is where the intellectual practice actually comes out of the way, right? You actually don't need your mind. You just need to be completely pure in your heart. Have a good heart. Be a kind, loving person. When you are a kind, loving person and your heart is pure, you become fit for self-realization. This is actually one of those shortcut practices. But of course, in our world, it's not so easy. The mind doesn't like simple and easy. We like difficult, challenging, and complicated. Right? Sit down and meditate for 5 minutes. You've got space for your mind to rest. Most people will say, I can't, my mind is too busy. Or meditation's not for me. This is ridiculous. But you've given your mind some space. Your mind is not used to having space. Your mind is there to serve you and to function for you in your life. And then you've given it 5 minutes of space. Of course it's going to rebel. Of course the mind is going to be like, wait, there's nothing to do. Ah, okay, well, let me just do my job and say, you forgot this, and don't forget this, and don't forget this, and don't forget this. Or you're going to sit there and be like, oh my gosh, my hips hurt. Oh my gosh, my hips hurt. Oh my gosh, my hips hurt. Or the sound of the electricity in the light bulb is really annoying. But okay, what has just happened? You've enhanced awareness. Just by sitting and giving your mind space, you've become aware of your physical body, and your body is telling you something. You have tight hips and the seated posture is not comfortable. You have a choice of doing something about it. So do. Now that you see it, you have freedom. You can choose to do something about it. That buzzing light bulb, you were never aware of it before. Now look at how heightened your awareness is. You know, we think of animals as having like sixth senses. If you look at an animal living in the forest, they have to be in the present moment. It's eat or be eaten. And so they're walking in their lives completely aware. I have a dog, and he can tell when my husband is coming up in the lift, way before he's even near the front door. How? Because they are so aware. And humans, we're not, because we're not living in the context of our present mind. Most of the time, we're mulling over a memory or planning the future. So by being in the present, this is how you cultivate purity. Only an impure mind rushes here and there and everywhere. So practice purity of heart, and the rest will follow. Now we're going to move on to Sutra 42. Okay, so this is the second of the Niyamas. Samtosha. Samtosha means contentment. And here it says, by contentment, supreme joy is gained. Supreme joy. If you are unhappy about anything in your life, you're not experiencing supreme joy. This is the time to practice contentment. The easiest way is to do, you know how sometimes if you've got like a digestive issue and you see a practitioner or a therapist, they'll say, okay, let's start by doing a food journal and then we can see what's going on. If you are unhappy and you're not experiencing supreme joy, you can do a complaining journal. Go about your whole day and catch yourself. When are you complaining? When are you moaning? When are you whinging? When something doesn't go your way, what is your attitude? What are you thinking? And it can be the tiniest things. Oh, the queue in the supermarket's really long. Ugh, now I'm going to be late. Ugh. How much do you complain about your life? Because if you are constantly complaining, constantly blaming, constantly deflecting, there is no supreme joy to be had because you are not practicing contentment. Observe your mind. This is a scientific experiment. This is a formula. You're only going to know how to effectively use this formula when you go out there and try it out for yourself. When you go out there and you try it out. So do a complaining journal for 24 hours and see what comes up. These are probably automatic thought patterns that you have not been aware of in the past. And then Pratipaksha Bhavana, you remember that term, Pratipaksha Bhavana? Taking a negative thought and replacing it with a positive thought. When you look at your complaining journal, then you insert gratitude. So for every complaint you have, match it with, well, I am grateful for XYZ. So if you have 10 things you've complained about in the last 24 hours, then you need to write down 10 things you are grateful for as well to match and counter. And this is how you practice contentment, by cultivating gratitude and lessening your complaining. You will be so happy. Life is so beautiful only when we have the eyes to see it. We're in a rainstorm. We're walking down the street and we're in a rainstorm. Most of the time we're scrambling to get shelter. But how many times do we actually stop and appreciate the rain, especially in a place like Hong Kong where the rain is warm and it's stunning? Very little. When we're stuck in a traffic jam and the cars aren't moving, we're always fixated on, ugh, I'm gonna be late, this, that. But how many times do we actually say, okay, well, now that the car's not moving, let me look out the window and check out some of these buildings. Hong Kong is truly amazing. The architecture and the buildings are really fantastic. But we don't. We're too automatically busy to remember to be content and grateful. I'm stuck in this traffic, but I'm so grateful I have a car with air conditioning and I can listen to an audiobook. And I don't have to be in the crowded MTR. There's always something to be grateful for. So this is your homework. This is your assignment for tomorrow.